What's up, everybody, and welcome to Movies Never Say Die. I did a top 10 80s Christmas movie list, so I have to do a top 10 90s Christmas movie list. I love seeing friends and family during the holidays. The food is amazing as well, but sitting back and escaping into nostalgic Christmas movies is what it's all about to me, and the 90s pumped out some iconic holiday flicks. I have 10 that I think are the best from the decade, so let's get into some holiday magic. Kicking this list off at number 10 is a film loaded with holiday sentiment. It's 1994's The Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen as a man who inadvertently finds himself as Santa's replacement and soon learns the responsibility of the holiday and the power of Christmas spirit. I always enjoyed this movie growing up, and even today, as not much of a Tim Allen fan, I still do love the holiday spirit that pumps out of this movie. It's a charming tale filled with all the splendor and magic of the holiday season, and at the core of it all is an endearing little story of a father and a son. Allen is having fun in this role. He definitely does embrace the silliness of it, and he pumps in more than enough jovial spirit to make it work. It's a quick-moving story that both old and young can have fun with to get in the Christmas mood. The humor does stand up well, and seeing Allen grow into Santa Claus is just a festive, feel-good ride that the entire family can take. Coming up next at number 9 is a holiday crossover of sorts as Halloween merges with the spirit of Christmas in Tim Burton's animated classic The Nightmare Before Christmas from 1993 that sees Jack Skellington discovering Christmas and trying to bring it back to Halloween Town. The innovation in this film still holds up all these years later. It's truly a Christmas movie like no other. I think Burton's bold imagination creates just a magical world filled with both Halloween and Christmas themes, and he anchors it all around a sweet story of love. I mean, in its own way, this movie captures the magical fantasy of the holidays as well as the meaning of Christmas, and it's all set inside a visually stunning world. I think technically this movie is a masterpiece. It's a film you can escape into, and when the end credits roll, you'll be feeling just tons of Christmas energy pumping through your veins. Now, shopping is a huge part of the Christmas season, and no film covers it like my number 8 pick, Jingle All the Way, starring action legend Arnold Schwarzenegger as a father trying to get his son the holiday's most coveted toy, Turbo Man. I love how this movie captures the insanity of the holiday shopping season and a kid's dream of getting the year's most coveted gift. I remember growing up the year the Nintendo was released, so I mean, seeing these characters trying everything in their power to get a Turbo Man certainly does bring up plenty of childhood nostalgia. Arnold is nicely playing up to his comedic strengths as a father trying to fulfill a promise to his son. Sinbad and Phil Hartman also jump in to give this movie plenty of added laughs. It's loaded with holiday charm. It gets lost just a little bit with morphing into kind of an action movie in the closing, but regardless of that, it's still loaded with just festive tradition and a lighthearted feel-good story that the entire family can have fun with. My number 7 pick is certainly a movie the entire family can gather around to soak in the holiday spirits. It's a spin on the classic Charles Dickens tale, but with a Muppet twist in 1992's The Muppet Christmas Carol, featuring all of your favorite childhood characters filling the famous roles of this story. I love this movie so much, and I don't think any film during the holidays can quite make you feel like a kid again like this movie can. If you're, I'd say, over the age of maybe 45 or so and grew up with it, I mean, it's just filled with heartwarming atmosphere. It's brimming with the spirit of the Christmas season. Seeing these great Muppet characters in this holiday tale will stand the test of time, and it's a film that will just make you want to hug the person that you're watching it with. It's rich with visual appeal, and Michael Caine is just absolutely fantastic as he breathes life and his own charm into the role of Scrooged, and to me this is just one of those movies that delivers its sentiments with a genuine love that can connect to the heartstrings and just make you escape into this inviting world that it creates every time you watch it. Coming in at number 6 is a dumb comedy that may not be for everybody, but I love the silliness of it, and that film would be 1994's Trapped in Paradise, starring Nicolas Cage, Dana Carvey, and Jon Lovitz as brothers who attempt to rob a bank in a small Pennsylvania town and find leaving to be not so easy. I will admit this movie is an acquired taste, but I have fun with it. I really enjoy the blend of dumb humor with the wintry small town holiday setting. I think Cage and Lovitz and Carvey are a more than effective comedic trio. Each is able to bring their own brand of humor and their personality, and they really do work great with one another. They have a strong, this natural timing with one another. They really do look to be having fun in these roles. I think it plays well on screen, and hijinks just erupt as these brothers find one laughable roadblock after another while trying to get out of this small town during the Christmas holiday. It doesn't really layer on a ton of holiday spirit, but it just has a charming, inviting atmosphere that complements the fun-loving plot. We've reached the middle of my list, and I have a superhero film for this pick. It isn't about Christmas, but it does take place over the holiday. It has a holiday vibe to it, and that would be Tim Burton's Batman Returns from 1992, starring Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito, and Christopher Walken. Now, this is another movie that isn't exactly a Christmas film by traditional standards, but I mean, seeing Batman kicking ass in a Christmas-decorated Gotham is enough for me. It thrives with the imagination of Tim Burton, and it manages to capture a delightfully dark holiday atmosphere that I enjoy visiting each year. This movie does feel unique still all these years later, and it's filled with fantastic performances. Pfeiffer, DeVito, and Walken really do support the supporting cast around Michael Keaton, who once again is world class as the Caped Crusader. The cold winter backdrops are just perfect for this bold and eccentric story that gets the holiday juices flowing just enough for me to put it on my Christmas list. Now, much like Home Alone 2 was a remake of its original, the same could be said about my number 4 pick, Die Hard 2, Die Harder, starring Bruce Willis again as John McClane, this time fighting terrorists on Christmas Eve at Dulles International in Washington, D.C., and if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, then Die Harder is as well. While this movie doesn't deliver the same gusto as McClane and Nakatomi Plaza did during the Christmas of '88, I think this romp inside of an airport is still a blast during the Christmas season. The blizzard settings are perfect for fun, wintry action mayhem, and McClane delivers a buffet of dazzling action sequences. It doesn't provide much holiday tradition, it doesn't work in much Christmas sentiment either, but it's still a great ride to take during the holiday season as a compliment to Die Hard. Willis is awesome as McClane once again, and sure, this movie simply repeats the formula from the first, but it raises the stakes just enough to stand on its own as a great action flick for the holiday season. I just love the overall bizarreness of my number 3 pick, but it is an acquired taste. It does, though, deliver plenty of holiday sentiment, and that would be 1994's Mixed Nuts, starring comedic legend Steve Martin from Nora Ephron about a wild Christmas Eve at a crisis hotline business. I would say this is a holiday movie for the adults to enjoy, and it's not a film that everybody will like, but it is a great time for those of you who like off-the-wall, bizarre comedies filled with just bold and eccentrically comical characters. I mean, what happens when a person who works at a crisis hotline has a crisis of their own? It's an interesting question that's explored with full comedic gusto as Steve Martin leads a charming ensemble cast. There are a variety of laughs from the cleverly written dialogue to the comedic situations, and there's just enough holiday atmosphere and sentiment worked in to make this a fun go-to during the holiday season once the kids are asleep and you want some dark humor. I know Kevin Spacey has a very ugly history and some are not able to separate art from the artist. I completely understand that. That's everybody's choice, but there were many others in my number 2 pick that delivered fantastic comedic performances, and that movie would be 1994's The Ref, starring Dennis Leary as a cat burglar that gets trapped in a small town on Christmas Eve after a heist gone wrong. I know some of you may disregard this movie because of Spacey's involvement. I understand that, and that is your choice, but I mean, aside from him, I think this is a hilarious comedy filled with a just cozy hometown holiday vibe and tons of laughs as Dennis Leary frantically tries to escape a small town during Christmas, which you may think does sound familiar to Trapped in Paradise, released the same year, but this is very much a different film with its own comedic tone. I think Leary is a riot as he hovers at a constant breaking point from start to finish. The script is very well written with a dark little sense of humor, and comedically, this is just a well-rounded movie that keeps you engaged with humorous scenarios and supporting characters popping in, all the while keeping just an inviting holiday undercurrent to all the comedic insanity. We have reached the top of the list, and for my number 1 pick, I actually have 2 movies. To no surprise, they are Home Alone from 1990 and its quickly released sequel, Home Alone 2 Lost in New York from 1992, both of which starring Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, and Daniel Stern, both of which written by John Hughes and directed by Chris Columbus, and both easily regarded as Christmas classics. I'm sure this is no surprise pick to anybody. I also don't think Chris Columbus and John Hughes thought they would be changing the game of Christmas movies forever when Kevin McAllister graced the screen and got left alone and set up a house full of demented little traps for the wet bandits. I mean, this movie just oozes holiday charm, from the visuals to the music to the story, the settings, and the themes. I mean, you will be feeling the holiday spirit 100% with Home Alone. I think Culkin delivers an iconic kid performance, and Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern are the cartoonish villains this movie needed. It's fast-paced, it doesn't waste time, it's filled with quotable lines and appealing characters with a constant stream of Christmas sentiment that comes off as heartwarmingly sappy as it was intended. And I mean, who watches Home Alone and doesn't watch Home Alone 2 as well? To me, being a kid from the VHS era, Home Alone is like one movie, with tape 1 being Chicago and tape 2 being Kevin's adventures in New York. Much like Die Hard 2, this movie simply repeats all the success of the original, but the New York Christmas settings create an undeniable holiday energy. McAllister is a little bit more unlikable in this movie, but the fun of it is just non-stop, with a fun collection of comical side characters led by Tim Curry added into the mix. I mean, this movie is filled with sentiment, and going to New York during the Christmas season is done best in this film, as Kevin visits all the locations before the film closes with another classic showdown with the wet bandits. And that wraps up my list and this video for today. My picks for the 10 best Christmas movies from the 1990s. Let me know what some of your favorite holiday movies from the 90s are, or some of your favorite Christmas movies from any years. I'd love to see what some of your picks are. Thank you for watching as always, guys. I truly do appreciate it. I want to wish you all a very safe, healthy, and happy holiday season. And until the next video, I'll see you guys at the movies.
Jack Burton and the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there.
Survive a war, you gotta become war.
I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
You trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?